All right, looks like we're here. Might have been some dead air there, but I can never tell. Anyway, sorry for the sort of off day event here. Um, but I'm back, and I've got a short one today. I know everybody's probably getting ready for the holiday weekend, such that it is. Unlike last week, where it was a set of photos that I'd found and had completely forgotten about, even from when I had first processed them. Today is a set of photos that, while I had it up, I always thought they were something different because of poor labeling. But this is actually a trip I took out to visit a friend in near Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, in 2004. And to get out there, I believe I took Amtrak's Capital Limited. I don't know why. Mark does go out to Martinsburg, but maybe I went out on a weekend, or it was the most convenient time. Anyway, I got a couple photos here, and we can get going. Uh, Usually, this is sort of good. I got some padding to begin with while people will arrive. So this is just some photos I took from the roof. I used to live in a row house in Baltimore City, and this is just a random photo of some lightning um, from the roof. I wonder if I could find that. Again, I'm just gonna let people sort of show up here. I think I would be able to find something with lightning in it pretty quick. Or maybe I just never saved it because it was so crappy. Yeah, whatever. Like I said, I know that it usually takes a few minutes for a lot of people to show up. Yep, glad to see you on there, Brian. I'll give you a heads up right now. It'll probably be in two. Again, it'll be 2 weeks. I'm probably gonna be on for 2 days, on a Sunday and Monday, or I mean a Sunday to Monday, and then a Monday to Tuesday. So here again, I remember at one time I did take a train from Martinsburg to Penn Station. They actually had a special ticket rate for that. And it was actually the same train set. It pulled into Penn Station and sat there. I mean, sorry, pulled into Union Station and came back out again and went down to as a Penn Line train. But anyway, for whatever reason, I was starting at I was starting at Penn Station, then going to D.C., and then I guess changing to Amtrak. And I'm glad I did too, and you'll see why. But anyway, at this time in 2004, Mark was still using its AEM 7s. I never quite determined what happened to those. They broke down, and then they got them rebuilt, but they never went back into service. And then Amtrak was like, we're retiring them all, and then they're gone again. So I never could figure out, I never got a straight story on what exactly happened to those Mark AEM 7s. But I only saw them in service briefly. So, I'm sure someone out there knows. But at the same time, the new HHP8s were also entering service. Despite their demise on Amtrak, Mark realized that its SC44 Chargers don't have 8,000 horsepower, despite it being in the name. And surprise, surprise, they need something that can haul the super long train sets. In fact, they're using them quite a bit these days because they're using longer train sets to help with to decrease density of passengers. Might want to just overwrite this one. Let me just see if I can find it. Just gonna find 4915. I don't have that many pictures of it, or do I? I don't know. Yeah, these really nice pictures I have, that's a set of photos I lost. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm just going to change the name on this one. All right, here we have 4901 again. This is on the F storage track, which is would be track 8 if you're counting. This whole bowl of Penn Station was substantially rebuilt in the 80s because it was pretty much a giant slow-speed interlocking with a lot of storage tracks and there to support a lot of through freight too. PR did that, a lot of that. I'm sure I've said this before in other videos, but if people haven't seen those other videos, then it's new to them. The PRR really liked. Yeah, see, wow, I saw a lot of these guys back in the day. That's 4900, 4900, 4901. I think that was the picture I'm looking at now. Yeah. But anyway, when a junction sort of got beyond a certain complexity, the PRR tended to just be like, all right, everything's slow speed. Altoona was that way, Harrisburg was that way, Baltimore was that way, Sunnyside Yard's that way, Penn Station's that way. Pretty much the only thing that isn't that way was 30th Street. Probably because it was built a little bit later. Anyway, here I caught the CSX office cars in Union Station, and I actually went ahead of time and looked them up, which one it is. The second one's the New York, and the first one is the Florida. And I have numbers for those. The Florida is 994308, and the New York is... Let me just make sure that's the right one. Yeah, that's the right one. And the New York is 994010. So I'm not sure what CSX did with its fleet. I'm not sure they sold them or still have them or what, but 994308 plus 994010. But I'm not going to try to dig that up. But the good news is, like I said, I did the work to find out what those are before I subjected all the viewers today doing that. I was actually at Union Station today. I took a ride on the Crescent, and I'll tell you, right now, it's the best way to travel. If you have Amtrak guest rewards points, use them before Amtrak destroys the long-distance service. They say that for air travel, that curtain doesn't stop a virus. Well, on an Amtrak sleeper, that roomette door certainly does. There's not a lot of people riding, and you are basically isolated the entire time. I highly recommend it. Book those Amtrak, book a sleeper. It'll take you where you want to go, and you won't worry about it. The food's brought to your room. There's no one really around. You'll be the only one at whatever station you're going to. You'll get on the train. You'll close that door. You'll be in there the entire night. And if it's a single level, I usually didn't like them, but those Viewliners with the in-room bathrooms, great. I mean, this is the time where they're actually worthwhile instead of absolutely disgusting. So just be aware of that. I highly recommend riding Amtrak long distance at this point. So this is Amtrak. I think this is 953. I think 953 is the last AM7 that was bought. Yes, it was. This is the one. This is one of a set that was built in. This was, I think, 1989. That's strange. For some reason, this photo wasn't. Maybe this is one of those pictures I like to delete for bizarre reasons. It's nice when I can find stuff to restore. So, like again, I cannot recommended enough if you need to travel or you want to use your Amtrak points before they're destroyed. Let me just see when that second batch of AEM 7s. Oh, God. Uh, 1988 was when that second batch was done. Mark ordered 4 in 86. Blah blah. SEPTA ordered theirs in 87, and then Amtrak added 7 more got them in 88 for a total of 54. And then a couple were destroyed. Okay, there you go. And this was the last one. These were never rebuilt, and I remember towards the end of service, those last bunches in the 9950X ones were really, really getting shabby. Also, although it says AEM 7 and then the rebuilds were 7,000 horsepower, the 7 was diesel equivalent horsepower because of how available the power availability of electric versus diesel. So these only had 4,300 horsepower. I'm sure they could have overloaded a little bit, but just be aware of that. It's a little trivia fact. That's also why they were frequently double-headed, or typically used on Keystone trains because they were shorter train sets. Here we have one of the Amtrak pup switchers, 562. I'm not sure. The 7000 series are still used. I don't know which one this would have been. I can look it up. Uh, this is when there's a freaking train 62 becomes a problem. Just tell me what it is. Oh, God. What's an SSB 1200? Oh. It's a fancy name for an SW 1200. There you go. All right, anyway. It's an SW 1200. I'm not sure what happened to it. It's gotten sold since then. It's with some short line. But just thought I'd let you know what that is. 796 is still there. I saw it in the. I'm not sure they're using it. They might not be using the switchers right now. They might have eliminated those switcher jobs due to the reduced COVID. I think they're also using through trains as NEC trains do there also. Because when I came down on train 19, there's a whole bunch of Washington traffic on it, and usually they don't let people ride 19 to Washington. You have to go to Alexandria. But I think that they're using it in a regional slot. Which is smart. It's good that they're doing that. Don't want to just have them totally throw money away. Here we have one of our newer switchers. Looks like 540. It's an SW 1500. Don't know if it's still there. Probably is, but who knows. The SW 1200 had a 567. The SW 1500 I think had a 675. It's basically replaced it with a V12 645 instead of a V12 567. 540. Let's see if I already have this engine in the archive. No, just there. Guess I thought these pictures weren't good enough and just cut them. Or I have them somewhere else. Using dumb names. Oh, there it is. Yep, just used to use a non-standard naming scheme, and yeah, I definitely need to deprecate that one. Next, we got okay. I'm clearly on Amtrak. There, you can see the end of the West. Here we have the old intermediate signal between West Brunswick or East Brunswick interlocking and Pointer Rocks. That's why this the location is at milepost 70 from Baltimore, not DC, because the old main line goes to Baltimore. This was it was a a double distant, and for eastbound trains you had a slow approach indication due to the closely spaced interlockings at the Y at the whole Pointer Rocks complex. So the question is, can I find this picture wherever it went? Come on. I think that this is the Metropolitan sub. The sub, I'm always a little hazy if CSX has occasionally moved around where that the subdivision marker is. But let me just cut through all my pictures I have of High Rock. I actually made a trip out there. There it is from a passing train. I got it well documented. Maybe not the best documentation. Yeah, I probably have it I probably gave it some non-standard name, so I'm just going to re-standardize it. It's typically seen in the approach condition. This is not the greatest picture either. Oop. Again, if I had been more with it, I would. Well, I didn't have a car at this time down there. I was still in grad school, so no car, had no real ability to get out to these locations. This is when my inaction caused me to miss the old main line signaling before that totally went away. So here we have one of the CPLs at East Brunswick. I only was able to document half of East Brunswick. I went there on a bike trip, and I didn't really feel like walking into the whole yard area. So also, this amount of cropping is just going to result in a blurry mess. So I'm actually going to just expand this a bit, even though I'm not really capturing anything interesting. It just the alternative is just sort of makes it look like junk. Yeah, that works. Anyway, it was a combination of me being rushed and the interlocking being long and other things. So I pretty much just, I only did the one side figuring that I'd be back because I would come here and do a bike trip about every year. And unfortunately, I got out there very, by the time I got out there, I'd scheduled the trip to go out there, and then it was they've torn them all down. Yep, there's the same signal, just a different different thing. Let me see if I have that first picture. So here's the ones I got. And I just didn't bother walking down to the other end. That's why I'm a little more... I mean, I'm not immune to that sort of thinking these days. I'll still occasionally... but sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. I missed getting the pictures of some Pittsburgh CPLs by a week, or even less than a week, maybe a little bit, about between 0 and 2 weeks. I just want to get that one signal there. Come on, what is it? I don't want to have to go open a PDF. All right, that's track 1. The other one's going to be track 2. So, all right, I rarely got a good picture of the other one. Right, sorry for that uninteresting bit there. At this time, as you can see, the old MDOT, aka Mark, aka whatever, RDCs were still in the yard at West Brunswick. For years, the West Brunswick storage yard had a copious amount of old Mark equipment, from RDCs to Pullman gallery cars. A lot of those, they had a bunch of those old long distance coaches they converted to commuter stuff. And those ended up a lot of tourist museums. But slowly, bit by bit, they got sold on. I don't think they any got scrapped. They all went to museums and stuff. I forgot. I have no idea who got that. I think those are all B&O ones. Yeah, here are those. Here are the commuter coaches. A whole bunch of what do you call it? 104 and something. I think it's 104 and 102. These are snapped up by a lot of tourist lines because they're air conditioned. Oops, no, I don't want full screen. But Mark was probably using these up through the 90s. And this is when they were still using the Pullman gallery cars. Increases in ridership on the Brunswick line caused them to have to go find stuff. These Pullman gallery cars ended up with a lot of the Metra, for whatever reason, either themselves or through their contracts, apparently maintained their equipment very well. So that's why ex-Metra equipment ended up with a lot of new commuter lines, and I think some tourist lines, but mainly these Pullman gallery. VRE was using these gallery cars. That Music City Star uses these gallery cars. Sometimes they get sent back to Metra, sometimes not. I forget where these ended up. This is 9702. It's probably I'm not sure if that's a Metra number or a Mark number. I mean, it's Mark in this case. 7902, I'm sorry. And that's also number 59. One of those GP40 WHs. This is listed as in August, but it looks pretty dark for that kind of year. I don't know what was going on there. I guess it just August gets darker earlier than one might think it does. Alrighty, on to the second set, and this will be it. I mentioned it was going to be a short run tonight. Let's see if we have any questions here. Brian, what did I say? What did I say that you're going to be looking forward to do? I guess my next thing. Yeah, I don't know what's in near San Diego that would need the ex-Metra stuff, but again, unlike the Long Island Railroad, I've heard that Metra did take care of their equipment. Incidentally, there are more photos, but I don't think that you guys would want to see me getting a lot of pictures, just editing a lot of photos of draft horses. This is interesting, and I do have. I always did collect the Amtrak national timetables, but I don't really feel like digging them out, although I could, and you'll get to that in a second. Anyway, here's a great picture of WB Tower, despite being from the train and everything, but yeah, I'm gonna have to make this mostly full. See, I don't want to cut off that Jeep, but yeah, whatever. I have a lot of good pictures of WB. CSX did. WB was one of those things where the tower held on because most of what it was doing was mark related. And CSX was sort of like, I bet that the state was probably chipping in for the operator there. So it was one of those, well, if the state wants to pay for it, CSX isn't going to pay to eliminate the job if they don't have to pay for it. So that's why it hung on until like 2015, I think, or 13. Yeah, it held on for a good long while. Well after Hancock and all the others had closed. Now, what I mentioned was what was surprising. First off, so today the Capital Limited departs D.C. at 4 o'clock, 4:05, and the eastbound arrives around noonish, maybe 11, maybe 1. Between 11 and 1 is when it sort of gets there. It's often an hour late. Here we have what looks like a rather late. I mean, I have to go check the. Hold on. Maybe I can find one online. Oh, there's the Museum of Railway Timetables. 2000s. April 2004. Is this national or Northeast? Oh, cool, national. Okay, give me just 1 second. Pittsburgh, Chicago services. Capital Limited. All right, let's see. Here we go. DC departs 5:20. That would explain why it's way darker, and it would arrive at Martinsburg at 7. All right, that explains that. Yeah, this train that I'm passing is ridiculously late. It was due in at Harper's Ferry at 10 a.m. and it's 6. It is just about 6:30 p.m. It is 8 hours late. This might have been one of those things of why I always thought the Capital Limited ran at a different time, because for a long time, the only time I would have experienced passing one would have been it being that late. But nah, I used to ride the Cap. I knew it didn't come in that late. Man. So also, this is Weaverton interlocking at Weaverton Cliffs, where there's a narrow. We got the road right next to the railroad. It's where the I'll pull it up on the map here that I had pulled out ahead of time. Here's Brunswick Yard. A Google terrain view will show you the best bet here. So yeah, there's the Weaverton Heights, and you can see how everything's got to squeeze right in there. And it's between Brunswick Yard, which is right there. I can't really highlight anything at this way. It was you had East Brunswick. You got the yard, the east end of the yard. West Brunswick, which is sort of the middle of the yard. Then you'll have two, it's sort of 4 tracks. It's like 2 main tracks and 2 yard leads. And they go all the way to Weaverton, where they collapse back into the 2-track main line. And this was something else where I was like, I got to get out there. Didn't really have a way. And then suddenly, it wasn't even I got to get out there. It was just, I wanted to get better photos from like even a train. And these all got replaced in 2000. like very, very shortly after this. So like I said, I guess it's not 2003, but it would have been pretty close to this point in time. So here we have the signal. Yeah, this weird signal is right next to the road. You can see it from the road. Everything else is dwarfs, and you'll see that in a second. And this is all used to be remote from West Brunswick Tower. They had a CTC machines, and then everything past Harper's Ferry was all Rule 251 to NA Tower in Martinsburg. Now Weaverton used to be the division post or subdivision post. I have this marked as Cumberland sub. This might be one of those things that I do want to go check to see what it was back in 2004. Map, CSX, 2005 Baltimore Division timetable. Logan sub, Keystone sub, Met sub, East Rocks, Pointer Rocks, East Brunswick WB, Weaverton was the division point. So usually when that happens, I just put the interlocking name Bear instead of how do I spell that? Weverto. There's no A in it. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering how I got this photo, I'm not entirely sure. Well, again, this meant that there was no trans, some sort of coach. Either I was able to get to the front of the train, and there was no trans dorm on it. So when you went to the front of the train, you have a window looking over the P42 on the front. So that's how I got this look-ahead thing. Yeah, I think that they had the sleepers on the back, and I just did whatever, and I walked up to the front, and I'm like, oh, duh, I can be getting look-ahead pictures. Duh. And again, I didn't have good zoom, and it was getting very dark, and I guess we were going into the setting sun. So, but there you go. So I got this really neat picture here of an 8-hour late train 30 next to the Weaverton CPL mast that's sort of cockeyed and doing its thing. Here was another picture of the Weaverton mast. Sort of dial that in. Yeah, I don't have a lot of didn't have a lot of pixels to capture this stuff. Fast forward about a decade, and I did the same thing coming into Chicago, and I got a lot of good look-ahead pictures. On the Aurora sub. All right, and here we have some of the CPL dwarfs there. All other 3 tracks had dwarfs. There's track 2, and the other one would be, I guess, track 4. Let me actually have the thing up. It would be 3-runner and 4-runner, so that's 4-runner. And the other one, you can see the other one. These are all 261 in here between, starting I think at Harper's. And it can display the high green. I tried to do a square crop on this, but the other one's going to do medium clear. Yeah, there we go. Little awkward, but lets me catch the rail joints in there. Decrease the quality. Oops. I'm not sure that crop's really working out for me. Kind of looks weird. I'll just do this. And then reduce the size a bit. And then that. And then see how that works. When you're reducing the size and the file size is more than what you started, you're doing it wrong. Weaverton was best known for its CPL bracket. Its eastbound CPL bracket. The light, you get really favorable light in like the certain times of the day here, especially in the afternoon, as you can see from this backlit photo. And a lot of people used to go out here. You can still find them on the various archive sites if you search the location. They're all manner of really excellent photos of this CPL bracket with whatever train going by. But I wasn't going the wrong direction that day. Only got it this style. Getting close to the end here. Harper's Ferry Station. I think it's gotten a substantial makeover at some point since I took this picture. Note the train order lights are still there. This is before I think they put that fake little tower thing. They got a chassis system. Chassis system used the little tunnel thing, even though I don't think many people do. You get a little lightning rod and the train order light. Tone that down a little bit more. Get rid of a little bit of the red. That needs a bit of saturation. There we go. But I know that I used the West Virginia service at some point near here. It must have been. I just don't know. It just could have been maybe. I think I just was the earliest I could get there was the Amtrak. Okay, here we go. This I'm pretty sure is after the Martinsburg Tower had closed. So they would have this would have been after the Rule 251 would have been eliminated between Harper's Ferry and Martinsburg, and that was to support the MARC service. And those are the Martinsburg roundhouses. One of them is sort of, you'll see what's up. They're still, it's 20 years later, and they're still trying to turn that into some sort of museum. But I got a bunch of This is sort of, there's a, I don't know where the heck. Actually, I can go zoom in and see where this is. Martinsburg is a bit of a ways away. It takes a haul to get there. Yeah, that would have been, I guess I went up to the parking lot. This was before that overhead walkway, the walkway to nowhere was built. As you can see, there's your platform. Amtrak is still served by the duck boards. And then they built this walkway for people to access the roundhouse area. But I don't know what's there. I'm not opposed to, renewal projects. Just finish them at some point. I have two similar photos here. Oh, not that one. So that one's a little bit closer. So the second engine's 70. It's also nice to see what... Oh, it's a... Yeah, I guess it's a B&O caboose. And like I said, I was just... These last couple, I was just involving me up on that hill. Getting some photos of the signal in 30. Now, this is pretty similar to that other photo, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to crop it in a bit tighter. Because I already have a photo of number 70 there. I mean, the first one was the wider angle, so this one I can create the illusion of diversity. And down to the last one today. This just shows. So this is. Oh, come on. There you go. So I think that a lot of this is obscured now because of the way they did that overpass. So let's just go take a look at what's there right now. Yeah, that shabby center platform is still there, and still shabby. Oh, there's NA cabin down the way. And somewhere that guy is sitting. If you see where that guy is, he's sitting, I think, like right there. And then that's not there, right? That hadn't been built yet. So I'm just going to try to straighten this up. It's a pretty long station stop for me to get off the train and get up to where I am. I mean... I'm usually pretty supportive of Amtrak. There's one thing that I think they could really do better. It's try to be crisper on their station stops. Now, I know that they've got issues with a lot of older and ADA passengers, but I think that guy there is a rail fan because he's listening to a radio and he's got a bottle of stuff and he's on a photo vantage point. So I'm pretty sure that guy was a rail fan. I think I talked to him, but I couldn't remember any more details beyond that. That'll be it for today. Zoop. Let me just see what is going on in the old Chatteroony here. Oh, yes, the San Diego and Arizona Eastern ones. Yes, I have seen those. Anyway, yeah, thanks for everyone who's tuned in. I hope you're all doing well. Remember, wear your personal protective equipment out there and avoid crowds. Once again, I'm going to plug Amtrak Long Distance. Just got off a trip to Georgia, Gainesville. Took a sleeper roomette both ways. Really great. Didn't feel at risk at all. Not feeling sick yet. If you have, as I said, with Amtrak cutting the service back in October, and then who knows what's going to happen after that, book a trip. The best thing you can do is the best thing people can do is use the service. And at the very least, if you have a lot of points, you can use them now. That's all I can tell you. Stay safe. Get out there, use your time or work flexibility to take some pictures, get some video. You're gonna have a lot of good video on my channel coming up. I got a lot of good power changes in DC. A couple things here and there. So I got a bunch of videos of the type. People love my DC power change videos, so I got 2 more power change videos. Anyway, see you next. It won't be next Tuesday. It's going to be Tuesday, July, or Sunday to Monday. Should be Sunday the 12th to Monday the 13th, and Monday the 13th to Tuesday the 14th. Should be my next 2 times, and I'll find something. I'll find a 2-parter to do. All right. See you, everybody. Gotta go.